to a farm in Agra.
Hi, I'm Meenakshi,
I am Sonu.
and I have been an ex banker and financier before I became a farmer. And I've been in the corporate sector from 2003 for about 15 years before I started my journey as a farmer. So I've been one of the few women farmers of India. And I worked in companies like DCM Shriram, HSBC Bank, in Telecap. And I also worked with big companies like Disney, Aviva, and Reliance Industries. And the last salary I was drawing before I quit my job was more than 50 lakhs per annum. In 2016, I moved back to my hometown, which is Agra, and I decided to start working on my family's farmland. And I pulled my sister into helping me. So this is Sonu, who has also joined me. I had to actually drag her to start working with me.
It's not been so bad. It's been a journey. The farm has been quite a learning for us. We were actually not farmers ourselves. Both of us belong to corporate lives and corporate cultures, and we were just like first generation farmers in our family. So we had to really learn the ropes of how to farm. What grows in our land, what season, what soil, what kind of water, and how to do organic farming. So first of all, the major challenge to us was how to make the farm organic. So you can't manage underground water. So we had to struggle to first convert our land into organic land. What crops will grow, what season, which crop, what's the harvesting, what is the sowing period. We tried a lot of different crops. We also tried with a new variety of cucumber, and that was a seed from No New Seeds, and it was an English cucumber which basically grows into a 10 centimeter long cucumber. And we thought we'll experiment and it'll be something new that will come into the market and people will appreciate. The year we grew it and we went to the market with it, everybody was like, आपने overgrow कर दिया, एक cucumber is like 6 inches और आपने इतना 10 inches का कर दिया, आपने overgrow कर दिया, so हम नहीं लेंगे. So it was like a learning. वापस you go back to the drawing board and say गड़बड़ हो गई है. So we had to actually do a lot of learning ourselves as to what will work on the farm and what will not work on the farm. So we are now trying to stick to what is good for this season, for this climate, for this soil, for this water.
And also what is good for what you can actually sell.
Yeah,
What is the consumer demanding from you?
Yes.
Because you cannot be, you're sitting in a small city and the small city demands are very different from a big city. So you
Very
have
true.
to cater to the demands of your consumer. So that is the time when you can become a little bit more sustainable, then you can actually having an innovative idea is not enough. You have to have an idea that meets the demand of the consumer.
And be practical.
So if you look at the finances that you might require for running a farm like this, actually it can be anything. It depends on what you would like to put in and how much capital you really have. But a farmland can really suck all your resources. It's very easy to let go of your money and to put in the money in a farm like this. For us, because we were first generation farmers, for us the learning cycle was a little bit higher, and initially we invested up to a crore of rupees, actually more than that, to just set up the farm and to start getting like I think over a period of 2 to 3 years, we had to do a lot of experiments to understand what the farm can actually produce. Initially, when we started working on the farm, our produce was going directly to the mandi. And I remember there was a time when we took lauki to the mandi, and I've sold the lauki at 2 rupees a kg. So there is no way you can predict what the market is going to give you. There is no price that is set in the mandi that you can actually understand that's the money you will be receiving. It depends on that day's mandi price. So it took us a long while to get our farm to be sustainable, to actually break even. For us, the journey was almost 5 years. Yeah, it took us nearly 5 years of hard work and of sweat and pain to realize how to make our farm sustainable.
We literally had to go to the drawing board. We had to go to the drawing board because it was not working for us. We had left our corporate jobs and there was nothing coming out of this. For 5 years, the struggle was going on and on and on. So there was something amiss. So we had to think about it, what we could do more. So we thought the whole strategy then came out to value add.
So we realized that the value add is going to be chemical free,
Fresh,
preservatives free, fresh,
seasonal.
seasonal produce,
Yeah.
and that
Minimally
is
processed too.
minimally processed. I think one of a significant difference that we learned was minimally processing the food which is traditionally made. I think that was missing completely in 2019, and we started with that, and we went to a store model which was not just a single product or a two product model. What we also learned was pivoting that as well to a multi product store model, which basically also gave us access to other farmers, micro farmers that we started working with across India, who've been working with us, who've learned Jaivik Kheti with us, who've learned regenerative farming with us, and we were able to provide them access as well. So now today our store is a multi-product store, and we are catering to multiple consumers, and that shifted our model completely to being more sustainable than just farming on a piece of land. Should we take them to our store and
I
let's
think that makes more
walk
sense.
them through
I
what the
think you
store
should
is
walk
all
to,
about?
yeah, I think you should walk into our store and have a look.
This is our store, and we ended up starting this store in about 2020 officially. To 2019, we were just trying to still test the market, whether this will work at all. So we were very hesitant, but in 2020 is when we really rolled it out. Since then to now, I think it's been 5 years. We've broken even, and we have an average revenue of about 5 crores plus. Taken a long time for us to get here, but it has been a very, very exciting journey for me.
Given that profit margins on grocery items are quite low, how do you ensure that the business remains sustainable?
So you have to understand the only way to make this business sustainable is when there is a sustainability in repeat purchase. And repeat purchase comes with a pocket friendly pricing. And so pricing your FMCG and grocery products is crucial. So you have to really understand how to do this, and you have to learn what your costs are, because when you're growing something, it's very difficult to define the costs, because you're doing multiple cash crops, multiple products are growing. So it's hard to point and say that this much cost is allocated to let's say ghee, or let's say to atta or to millets. So you have to average out. You have to learn how to do that costing and then allocate that money, and then understand what your pricing will be. Learning pricing was very challenging for me because I come from a service background. So I'd never done pricing like that for a product. So it took me a while to get to the pricing, to understand what pricing means over here and how to actually price these products. And this market is also very heavy on discounting. So you had to also unlearn just pricing and then also relearn what the consumer wants in terms of what is the kind of discounts he wants, what the kind of deals he wants. And that's how we started adjusting price and discounts and costing. So all three had to be managed, learned, and then you come to the right pricing.
Before starting your entrepreneurship journey, how did you manage your finances?
Even though I came from finance as a background, I did not have very smart wealth management strategies at that time. I remember buying really expensive bags about 10 years ago. I mean, at that time, I was doing a bag worth of 1 lakh rupees. You know, that's the kind of spending I had. And my favorite was shoes. So I think I had about 30 pairs of shoes at that time. So my massive investment, or the money which I was spending, was on shoes. So I was investing, but a large portion of my money was in savings, let's say around 10 to 15% in mutual funds, and another 20-25% in stocks. So about 40% of my portfolio of my savings was in stocks and mutual funds.
Looking back, have you made any financial mistakes that led to huge losses?
I think a couple of mistakes that I did was just blindly follow trends. One of the things that I did was in 2010, I remember very clearly, there was an announcement by the government that they would be investing heavily in solar, residential solar, as well as commercial solar panels, etc. So the solar industry was set to boom. The figures that the government was giving was more than $1 trillion industry. They were gunning for $1 trillion industry. And that got us very excited. I was very excited, and very blindly I went and invested in some small stock companies. At that time, I thought they were doing very well, or they had the potential to do very well. And I went and invested in some of these. And unfortunately, within, I think, probably 2 years, that stock tanked. I lost more than 10 lakh rupees in that stock. And I realized that you cannot go blindly in stocks. You have to do your research, and you cannot go with trends. You have to be, your research has to be really, really strong before you invest in anything.
Now, as a founder, how has your way of investing changed over the past few years?
My money management has flipped completely, because as an entrepreneur, I value money a lot more, because I understand the value of every little amount that's coming into your pocket. So my mindset has changed from just consumer durable spending on luxury products to actually building a wealth, building a portfolio. My FDs are now almost zero. I do not have so much investments in FDs anymore. Very small amount goes in FDs. Rather, I have a large chunk of mine in stocks again, but this time well-researched stocks. And 30% of my portfolio is in mutual funds. More than 40% of my portfolio is in stocks. And the balance, I think I'm around 15% in savings. And then the balance I have in gold and other things.
Having learned from your past failures, what is your current strategy for picking stocks?
If I'm selecting a stock, one, I have learned to hedge my risks. So I do a large portfolio of mine is in large cap stocks instead of small stocks. Earlier, my investments were more in small stocks, more risky. So I've shifted my focus in my investments. The second thing is that I try to do debt-free stocks. So the company should be ideally debt-free or very little debt. And I definitely look at what are the institutions invested in this in a stock. So I do like a large investments of DIIs to be there. That gives us a confidence of the stock as well. So these are some of the things that I do look at when I'm doing a fundamental or a fundamental analysis of the company.
Do you have any advice for those who want to explore farming?
You have to understand, India has always been an agricultural industry, right? We've always had more than 70% of Indians are farmers and they own the lands. But what is the real story of rural India? हमारा किसान अल्टीमेटली सुसाइड करता है क्योंकि उसे कुछ नहीं मिलता खेती से, है ना? तो अगर if anyone who wants to enter the farming side of agriculture, one, I would advise you to have your own land, have a large amount of capital, because initially your journey is going to be like a hobby. It's going to be an expensive hobby. You have to learn a lot, you have to spend a lot, you have to waste a lot of money. So anybody who wants to enter farming can definitely enter farming, but I'll always advise you have to have a +1 aspect to your revenue model. So whether it is you can club your farming with education, for example. So you can do farming education. So you can become a professor in farming. And you can get people to come and visit your farms, teach them how you are farming. That's a great way to earn. Another, I think, more sustainable, easier way to do is to start a farm stay. So you can have a small cottage in your farm, and you can actually invite people to live in your farm, and they can experience the farm. You can explain what you are doing. There are a lot of factories now, new models, where people are doing cheese. So they have like a little farm stay, and then there is a cheese factory, cows are there. So you see the whole process of how that entire cheese is getting made. That's where you will start earning actual revenues to make your farm sustainable. A single just getting the farm produce and selling it even in a mandi or to a contractual person is not where your sustainability will come from.